Hey, it's Joey D, and welcome to my podcast, Joey D's Golfing Journey. Now sit back, relax, and have some fun. Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode number 2 of Joey D's Golfing Journey. I know that it's been a while since I recorded the first episode, but I've been kind of busy. It's been a crazy summer. It has been busy. It's been wicked hot up here in the Northeast, and we went from cold, wet spring to a hot summer with the flick of a switch. However, I enjoy the heat, and I'd much rather be playing in 90-degree weather than in 50 or 40-degree weather. I just can't stand the cold, and so that's just the way it goes. Anyway, I'd like to talk a little bit about the success of the YouTube channel right now. Listen, I know I'm going to have 289 subscribers, and I know that is not a big mark in the YouTube golf world yet. But the fact of the matter is I've picked up, 70-something followers in the last 35 days or so. I don't know. They have the statistics that show up. So I'm really happy with that. And I've been giving away a lot of prizes. I've run a lot of contests out there. And, my subscribers, and if you're listening right now, you guys have been tremendously supportive. And I can't thank you enough. Just a quick note in my personal life. Just had a good friend of mine die from liver cancer. Just a month ago, he was playing golf with us. That's how fast it went from diagnosis to him passing away. Was about a month. And so I want to dedicate this podcast to my friend Mike Boggio, who passed away peacefully with his family on July 13th. And Mike, I'm going to miss you, buddy. You made me laugh. We had a lot of fun on and off the golf course, and you are certainly a big void that's going to be not only in my life, but in your family's life and your golf family at Keeney Park. So I hope you're playing some great golf on the other side. And, we love you. Anyway, so let's move on to some different stuff. Hey, my golf. I have been struggling. As you guys know, I'm kind of the hybrid guy, right? I play all Lazarus hybrids. I shouldn't say all Lazarus. The majority of my hybrids are Lazarus hybrids. So my 4-wood, my 4 hybrid and 5 hybrid are both TaylorMades. And I do have a 2 hybrid from Precision Golf, and I've actually stuck a 9 hybrid from Precision Golf in my bag also, and it's they go by the initials PFG. So so far so good, but I have been struggling tremendously with my long woods, my long hybrids, the 4, the 5. The 3-wood, just hitting the shots fat. So I'm trying to fix that, and what I'm working on with that is I took lessons at Golf Tech a couple of years ago, and this is when I was still hitting regular irons. I want to get to a story about regular irons, by the way, but and one of the things that he worked with me on was, I'm a right-handed golfer, so he worked with me on keeping my right leg straight. Almost not locked, but more straight, and having that feeling of when you come through the ball, like you're standing in a door jam. So when you come through the ball, you bump the door jam. Now, I had kind of abandoned that over the last year or so because I went to hybrids and I didn't seem to need to do that. However, I think that I'm probably just my low point. I'm dipping too much, and the consistency of hitting bad long iron shots long hybrid shots is killing me. and I'm missing a lot of greens because of it. And on top of that, my putting's not very good right now. So, but even with all of that, like this past weekend, I shot 80, 82. My handicap's a 9.7. I have been, in my lifetime, I've been a 4 or 5 handicap, and I played, between a 5 and a 6 for a good like 15 years. And when I got divorced the first time, game kind of went to shit because my kids were young, and I went from, playing 3-4 times a week to playing once every other Sunday. So it struggled, and I never really have brought it back yet. And there's always glimpses, and at 56, I still feel like I'm plenty young enough to turn this game around and play some great golf. And I make sure that I try to keep myself physically fit, which I cannot express enough to you guys out there who's listening, that as you get older, your muscle mass starts to deplete quickly. So I don't think about how many years I'm going to live. I think about the quality of those years. So the fastest way to keep the fountain of youth flowing is to do resistance training. I'm just putting it out there. I know that's not really golf related, but it can be, because if you can make it so you slow the aging process, which you will do by resistance training. If you can keep your muscle mass from depleting to a point where you're struggling. As we get older, we just struggle with more aches and pains. But if you keep your muscle mass up, you're going to age a lot slower. And I'm not talking about going there and busting out heavy weights in the gym. I'm talking about just doing something, whether you're doing body weight stuff or just light weights. It doesn't matter. You need to do resistance training, and you will slow that aging process. It's extremely important. And I try to stick to a high protein diet. I think I've mentioned before, I don't know if I mentioned it in the first podcast, but, I had dropped like 80 pounds. I put like 25 or 30 of that back on. People thought I was too thin when I was 30 pounds lighter. I felt better at that weight. So I'd like to take at least 15 of the 30 that I've gained back. I'd like to at least take that off and get back to a comfortable weight. Anyway, so that's what's going on with my golf game. So I'm not scoring terribly, but I can't seem to get through rounds of golf without making a couple doubles. And but listen, I'm a 9.7 handicap, and that is not only what this podcast is about, but it's what the YouTube channel is about. It's about normal guy golf, right? It's about normal. It's about going out there and knowing that we're not going to shoot even par, but let's do some fun shit, right? Let's go out there. Let's make some videos, which, by the way, I'm trying to get better and better at with each time that I do one. I always find stuff that after I post a video on Facebook and I watch it and I go through it, I'm like, I could have done this a little better or that a little better. And the software that I use for shot tracking, the Shot Tracer Pro software, can do so much amazing things. And I really just need to dig in deep and learn how to use that software to its full capability. And so that's my promise to you as my subscribers that I'm going to be doing. Let's talk a little bit about what's coming up. We got the Open Championship coming up, and we're in a pool every week. So I've made my picks for the pool, and the strategy that I use, and we basically, you have the way this contest is run. Your golfer gets so many points, almost like a Stableford type thing for when he makes pars or birdies or whatever, and then you get points taken away if they have bogeys or what have you. So, but the key really to success is you got to have as many guys make the cut as possible. If you have more than one guy miss the cut, you ain't winning this pool. Well, I had one guy miss the cut for the Masters, but I still won the pool. U.S. Open, I did not win the pool, but then we came to the PGA Championship. Once again, I only had one guy missed the cut, but the rest of the guys that I picked for the pool performed well. So really, that's how I pick it. So we use whatever it's called, FanDuel or what, I think that's what we use, and we go in and it shows you how many cuts these guys have made on the year. So I just look for guys that make a lot of cuts, because you need to keep your dogs in the show, right? You need to keep them playing in order to make points, because once your player misses a cut, the amount of points he made on Thursday and Friday, that's it. You're not getting any more. So, of course, I picked the Scheffler and I picked McIlroy, and I forgot who else I picked. But you get $60,000, of play money, whatever, to spend. And so you got to strategically really pick your players. So, I pick a couple of top-heavy players, and then I start going down the list just looking for guys who make a lot of cuts. So we'll see how that goes. I can't wait to find out, to give you the results of that once that pool is done. And so, we'll see. We'll see. I always love the majors because you get the guys from Live that come and play. It's just, you get to see all the old faces come back and have all these guys play together. And so it's interesting. The whole Live thing, to me, I find interesting because, to me, golf is golf, right? I love golf, and I was willing to give Live a fair shake. I didn't care that these guys went. They went for a lot of money. I mean, if I have a job, right, a full-time job that I do. This YouTube stuff and the podcast stuff is for fun. If it turns into something, great. If it doesn't matter. I'm not going to stop doing it. It's just fun. But if someone called me, and said, hey, you can come to my company and do the same job you're doing now, but we're going to pay you, say, $30,000, $40,000 more a year. Well, I'm going to take it. I'm going to take that job, especially if all things are the same: vacation time, benefits, 401k matches, whatever. I mean, and I know that people hate Live. I don't enjoy the product. But I don't hate it for the reasons that a lot of other people hate it. They're traders. They left. Of course they went for the money. A lot of guys would go for the money. But the PGA Tour really has Live to thank for the money they're playing for now. Originally, you had like Arnold Palmer, who made golf mainstream. Like, he made it what it is today, right? He was the first one to spark up interest in television, right? And then you had Jack, and he came on, but really the modern golf that we enjoy now, I personally believe, is because of Tiger Woods. I mean, I'm 56, and he hit the scene in 97 when I was only 27. And so I got to witness what I think to be the greatest era in golf. That 2000, 2001, 2002 season, and the mid 2000s, 2013, even though he didn't win majors, but he still had a great year. And then, man, to see him win the Masters in 2019, I mean, that's one of those moments in golf that I'll never forget. And what's funny? I was 17 when Jack won the Masters in 86, but I'll be damned if I can remember it. I don't remember watching it. I couldn't tell you where I was or how enthralled I was with it. I don't know. I was 17 years old. I could have been out with my girlfriend. I have no idea where I was. I don't even know if I watched it. But I love watching the highlight reels of it. I love going on YouTube and watching the highlight reels of all kinds of golf videos. I mean, golf is just such a passion for me. It goes well beyond just being a game that I play. It's an obsession. It's a passion. I love to compete. I love to play for money. I love to play for side bets. I love matches that we get going. And I'm hoping to bring that out more to YouTube. And I really, really want to get more subscribers, because I think that, I'm kind of onto something here. And maybe I'm not, but so many of these guys out there are like pro golfers. And, Grant Horvat, I follow all of them. Grant Horvat, here's a guy who, just with his personality and all that, and he's he's out there killing it with YouTube Golf. And then you had actually the professional players kind of follow suit afterwards. They started looking and saying, wow, look at all the success that these guys are having with YouTube Golf. And now they've all been starting, not all, but a lot of them are starting YouTube channels. Like Bryson DeChambeau, he really turned around how people felt about him from his YouTube channel. People are out there just loving the content he puts out there, and I'm one of them. But I am going to tell you something, a little story about Bryson DeChambeau. I volunteer every year at the Travelers Championship, every year. Now, in 2021, during the Pro-Am, okay, Bryson DeChambeau was the most interactive player that was out there. He was the most that was engaged with his amateur partners in the Pro-Am. He was talking to them. He was helping them line up putts. He was working with them on their swings. He was so engaged with trying to help these people out. And then he was engaged with the fans, and he was just so nice to everybody. He really was. And I remember when they went through the whole Brooks Koepka, DeChambeau fight, and, there was the whole Brooksy thing and all that stuff, and you'd see him get rattled. But when I mean that Bryson DeChambeau has just changed his whole persona, the way he is looked at, it's just amazing. And I think he has, and he openly admits that YouTube Golf played a huge part in that, because people got to see who Bryson really is. And so I give kudos to Bryson DeChambeau. It's going to be interesting because next year his live contract is up. There's a lot of guys whose live contract is going to be, are going to be coming up, and it's interesting to see where these guys are going to go. I don't know. The PGA Tour is not big on talking about how long suspensions are and whatnot, but there was one guy who I don't even remember his name now, but his live contract ran out, and no one saw him for a year, and then boom, this year he played in a PGA Tour event. So maybe it's a year-long suspension. After you leave live, you serve a year and then you can come back out. I don't really know, but I think that I'd love to see these guys maybe find an avenue back to the PGA Tour if they want. If they want to stay and live, let them stay. I know I'm not going to watch because I don't enjoy the product. What don't I enjoy about the product? Well, first of all, with a guy who has OCD like myself, and that is the truth, I take medication for my OCD. The scoreboard alone on the side of the screen it gives me anxiety. I know it, as crazy as it sounds, it gives me anxiety. Don't really dig watching the whole shotgun start thing. And I just, it's the same guys every single week. And let's be honest. Let's be honest with ourselves. I don't want to say that guys are becoming irrelevant, right? But who's talking about Dustin Johnson anymore? Who's talking about the kid who won the Open Championship, and then he's from Australia. Why am I drawing a blank on his name? You know who I'm talking about. The guy with the long goat, the mullet haircut, I'm drawing a blank on his name. Anyways, from Australia, and, no one's talking about him anymore. Guys are talking about Bryson. I think Jon Rahm still comes into some conversations, but a lot of these guys that were hugely relevant on the PGA Tour are not even you don't hear anything about them. I don't know if they're playing good, bad. I don't know. Because, I know when I see them come over and play in the majors, Dustin Johnson has done nothing in the majors, right, since going to live. Nothing. Brooks Koepka came over and he won one. And really, but the last few, over the last couple of years, he's done nothing. So I'm not convinced that going to live has not hurt these guys' games a little bit. I mean, they've got the guaranteed money, and is the passion still there to compete and win? I don't know. It doesn't seem like it, but this is just one guy's opinion. And again, I don't blame any of these guys for going. And I know that there's some real big haters out there, right? They call it exhibition golf. They call it this. They call it that. Whatever. Golf, it's golf. And they went for a lot of money, and I don't blame them for going. But I think something needs to be done because I don't think golf should be a fractured sport. I think that somehow, some way, these tours need to learn to, get together or do something. And it sounds like they had, a deal done, and then whatever, that whole collapse. You saw it on, if you watched Full Swing, how players were finding out, not the right way, and they were not happy. I don't know how much drama is added by Full Swing, but I love Full Swing on Netflix, by the way. What a great show. Anyway, I hope they have a fourth season. I don't even know if they do. I hope they come out with a fourth season. So that's my take on the live golfers, and I've talked about the Open Championship, and I wonder who you guys think is going to win the Open Championship this year. I really like Rory, and I know that Rory was like, after the Masters, he's like, well, that was my Mount Everest, and I'm trying to find some motivation. It seems to me that Rory's motivated again. I think that maybe he had that. Maybe that's how he really felt, and he took a big exhale, and now he's like, no, I want to get back on the major winning ways. And he's played beautifully the last couple of tournaments, I should say. So I think Rory is a good pick. You can't lose picking Scotty Scheffler. I think it'll be interesting to see how he plays. The guy's from Texas, so he's good playing in the wind, right? And wind is going to be a factor where they're playing over there in Scotland. And but link style golf is a whole different animal altogether. I played a link style course last week in Groton, Connecticut. It's a Donald Ross design. I made a video of it on my YouTube channel. And it's called Shinnecossett, and it's down in Groton, Connecticut. And it's such a great course. But it's the same thing. It's kind of wide open, and it's got some fescue grass, and the greens were great. It's such a beautiful course. If you are ever in the area, please go play it. It's such a wonderful course. I also want to give a shout out to my home course, which is it's considered a Hartford, Connecticut city-owned course, but the course itself sits more in the Windsor, Connecticut, over the Windsor, Connecticut line, right? But it is still a Hartford. It's a Hartford park. It's in Keeney Park is a huge park, and the golf course is part of that. They did a remodel of this course back in like 2015. They dumped, like $11 million into it. And it is doesn't even resemble the course that it was before the do-over, because they had the dirt tee boxes, they had the greens were terrible. And the city of Hartford took it over. They were leasing it out. They took it back over, dumped money into it, redid the clubhouse, restored it back to its old luster. And it was at one time voted the number one public course in Connecticut. And not only that, it was ranked in the top 100 public golf courses in the United States. That's subject to opinion, but I think it was Golf Magazine. And so they ranked it, in the top 100. I do not get bored playing this course. It opened up in 1927. Its defense is the greens. It's not a long course, but you got to hit the shots, and it's just so much fun to play. If you play the same course over and over again, a lot of times you can get bored. You don't get bored playing Keeney Park. You just don't. And I truly love it. I love the course, and the new pro that we got there, his name is Steve Madison. He's just an unbelievably nice guy. So if you're ever in the Hartford area, come out and play Keeney Park and ask for me. Ask for Joe Dillon. If I'm out there, I'll be, if you're one of my subscribers or a follower or hearing this and you want to know if I'm out there, listen, I play every Saturday and Sunday morning. I'm out at Keeney Park playing golf. So, if you're in the area and you want to say hi, I'd be more than happy to come out and say hi to you. You want to play a round of golf with me sometime? let me know. It'd be great. I think that would be fantastic to have somebody from the channel come out and play some golf with me. So that's Keeney Park, and that's where I've played lately. I talked about Shinnecossett, and So right now I'm just trying to work on the golf swing, trying to work on stop hitting those long clubs fat, trying to get the putter hot again, and we'll see how it goes. We've got my club championship coming up in a couple weeks. I'm going to take a lesson from our club pro next week, see if he can help me out with that problem I'm having, and we'll see where it goes from there. So until next time, thanks for listening to Joey D's Golf Journey. I hope that you guys tune in for future episodes. Thanks for your support, and hit 'em straight.